If I could put something into perspective for you, this is it. Welcome back to the channel. I am standing in or around the area formerly known as Wisetown, now known as Alvira, the ghost town. Wisetown was founded in 1825 by a farming community, and I'm just going to turn my phone around here real quick so I can pan around. What you're looking at now is just game lands, nothing, forest. What once was, land to many farmers and a few businesses, churches, blacksmith, now is Pennsylvania State game lands. So by 1900, the population of Wisetown had formed to 100. And, of course, throughout the years, the land of farming had improved. By 1942, the U.S. government purchased approximately 8,500 acres of where we're standing right now. And it was to build and accommodate munition in storage and a storage facility and a TNT factory. The residents were gathered at a church nearby and were told that they were being evicted. It was a buyout program is what it was. And they were told that later on they could repurchase at a later date. This turned out to be false. And at that time, there were 163 farms and 47 properties that were located in Gregg Township, Union County, Brady and Clinton Township, and Washington Township, and also a point of Lycoming County. After a period of time proving this falsehood, the U.S. government found that they didn't have a need for as many explosives, and the plant eventually closed. Now, during this time, this was during World War II, in that era, the U.S. government built 148 bunkers on this land. Now, of course, you can't see all of those 148 bunkers. However, there are quite a few that are open. There are some that are closed. And I'm standing in front of one right now. We're going to go on inside, and I'm going to show you around. And of course, many of the ones that are open are full of graffiti. This one is like completely empty. You can find others that are located that have a lot of just junk and garbage. A lot of stones in here. This is approximately, if I had to guess, 30 feet across from side to side, around, and about 15 feet high. And of course, it's very, very echoey in here. So I came back outside so you could hear me talk, because it is, again, it's empty. It's very echoey in there. All of these bunkers are numbered. Again, most of them are open. where the public can go in and, you know, wander around. Others are still locked. There are some still located on the Federal Correction Complex that you can't even get to. They're locked and used by the complex to store whatever. But as I look back in the woods here, you know, I'll drive down the road and show you, you'll be able to see the mounds in the forest here. And even when you walk back this road, there's another parking area down the road where I just came in. If you walk down these roads, you can see the other bunkers. You can't drive back these roads, but you can walk. I'm not going to go back in there right now because I don't have a whole lot of time today to do that. Maybe later I can come over and do it again. I'm going to post some other resources in the description below where you will be able to see some other images and other resources in regards to Alvira and read their story. There's also a Facebook page. So after the government decided that they didn't have a need for these bunkers, they closed everything down, including the TNT plant that they had built. That is located on the prison, behind the walls of the prison. This land was also used for testing, and you're going to hear gunshot and gunfire in the background. There is a firing range here, and also there's hunting and fishing. I don't think anything is in right now, so I really believe that the firing range is over here behind me. But in 1950, the land was used for testing by the U.S. Army. And the Federal Bureau of Prisons was given 4,000 acres of this land out of the 8,500. Some of the land was sold to make the White Deer Golf Course. And the remaining acres, which is 3,018 acres, was given to Pennsylvania's game lands for hunting and fishing. So I'm going to take a drive down the road here and just kind of give you an idea of the rest of the bunkers, just so you can see them in the woods. I did recently learn, and it looks like they've been cleaning up over here or clearing it out. I just recently learned that our local landfill purchased a lot of this land to use for the landfill. So I'll bring you back here when I get going down the road. So you can see how these bunkers are mounded under dirt. I don't believe they were mounded when they were first built with dirt. Much of the growth, you know, this is over a period of, you know, many years that these trees have grown up around here. This was all cleared off. The government completely demolished all of the homes, all of the businesses, you know, to build these bunkers. And they're all spaced. They're on both sides of the road here. It's just amazing how much the growth has taken over and, you know, hidden these bunkers away. I'm currently standing in one of the 3 cemeteries that's located on the grounds. This one is the Alvira Cemetery that have many of the family members who lived in Alvira. There are a lot more current burials that have taken place since. This is an open cemetery, so this is not a closed cemetery. Down in the back portion, in the corner, back in there is another cemetery. It's called the Pine Knot Cemetery. Now, many of the members that are back there were families who lived here in Alvira. There were many veterans that served during the War of 1812 to 1814. So we've got some really, really old families here that date back. Here's one from 1862 to 1948. And here's a gentleman that served during World War I. And his father right next to him, who was a veteran, Civil War veteran, 1861 to 1865. And then we have the mother here. Her headstone is laying on the ground flat. And I know down in the other cemetery, I watched a video before coming over here, many of the stones are very hard to read. One of the oldest members, one of the first members who, family members that was buried, is down in that Pine Knot Cemetery. And I may go down there. You got to venture back in. Not real sure about that because of ticks and snakes. Not real fond of that situation. And if you look right across the road, I'm going to zoom in here maybe. You can see the doorway to a bunker. So yeah, that tells you how close we are and how close they built these bunkers to this cemetery. So I am here at the lower end of Alvira Cemetery. Again, there's another cemetery that is at the end here, back that trail. I may venture back in there. This cemetery over here, this cemetery is still maintained. It's still open to the public. So any family that, may have lived here at one time and generations can still be, buried back here. But I'm going to venture back in. It's not too far back in, and I'm just going to take my time. Because again, this is state game lands, and who knows what's back in here. Well, here we are. Now clearly you can see the deterioration of the stones. This cemetery is maintained, and of course we had someone knock over a stone. Look at the detail on this. Here we go. 1835 to 1899. I do believe the oldest one is right over here. We'll be going over to it here. Just wanted to stop and look at this one. The mosquitoes are awful back here. (1804 to 1880). Just as a reminder, these are some of the original families that lived in Wisetown, now known as Alvira. 1822 to 1889. I don't believe this is the oldest one. She might be over there. But I'm going to get out of here because the mosquitoes are awful. So this area here, you can clearly see where the mound was. And I did notice this. I was here yesterday and noticed a couple of these bunkers were dug out. Maybe they collapsed, or who knows. But yeah, you can clearly see the outline of what once it was a bunker. I feel bad for the families who had this land. Back there's another one. For the families who had this land. Actually, there's one right here beside me. Right there. And who had to leave their homes. I did read at one time where the government or the contractor who was brought in to level the land, they had to lift a woman and off her porch from having her house demolished. She was sitting in a rocking chair and she had to be lifted off her porch so they didn't hurt her. But can you imagine how these families felt after they found out the fact that they couldn't get their land back? It's just awful. Now, most of the families moved further down the road here onto Elmsport Road. I did notice a couple family names down there, and have their farms reestablished, you know, throughout the years out on Elmsport Road through Montgomery, but not back here. Now, there's several foundations that are supposedly still here that were left over, but I can't see them. They're overgrown. They're completely overgrown. Another bunker. Okay, so we are at the end of the road. This road takes you straight through to White Deer, to Allenwood, actually. At about a 3/8 of a mile on this road, straight through, is White Deer Baptist Church. We are right at the back of the prison complex. And it's probably a quarter of a mile that way. I'm going to jump out here. So there's another cemetery back this lane here. This is the Presbyterian Cemetery, but I think that one may also be open to the public. I'm going to have to look further into it. Again, I'm going to post a lot of resources in the description below so you can look further into the town of Alvira and its background and what the U.S. Army was actually doing here. I did want to stop here at the pond because I didn't get a chance to yesterday. There's two ponds here actually, right, one in front of the other. There's a total of 4 or 5 that are all together that are here. And of course, you know, a lot of it's marsh. And I'm right along the road here. And again, we are in state game lands. So I'm not getting out and venturing too far because 1, I ain't got bear spray. 2, I ain't got my pew-pew. So, not gonna take that chance of running into some game, wild game. But I want you to listen. Just take a second and listen. You hear nothing. You guys can pause that and read over the rules and regs. Absolutely no camping. Here's another one of those long lanes. Now, if you Google Alvira, PA, you will be able to see all the grid lines, all the roads that are between the bunkers. And if you zoom in close enough, you might even be able to see where the bunkers are placed and how far apart they are. I have not seen these pods since I was a little kid. We had these all over the place behind our house in the fields. And that white material is so soft, and it's just, the pods are all over along the road here. Amazing. If I could put something into perspective for you, this is it. So the area that I was talking about, the 8,000 some odd acres right there, I can see the federal complex from here, and where I had ended up on the road was right about in here, back in those state game lands. So if that gives you an idea of just how large that property is that the government purchased. Oh, and by the way, right over there's the landfill. Yeah, they purchased a lot of that property for themselves to put our garbage into. So just wanted to come up here and show you just how much property we're talking about here that the government purchased, demolished houses, businesses, farms, an entire community to build these grounds for these bunkers to house munitions and build a TNT factory. And now many of those families are right below us who moved out of that community. They're generations. But I had to come up here to end my video on this. This is just stunning up here. I want to thank everybody for coming by again and watching another video. Thank you for coming with me on this adventure. If you want to see more content, please like and subscribe, share, get it out there, and make sure that you have your notifications turned on so when I post another video, you're able to see where we're going next. Thanks again, everybody. Please like and subscribe. Have a good night.